Welcome back, it's me, Lou. I'm here for another action figure unboxing and review, and today from McFarlane Toys in their DC Multiverse line, we are featuring the Penguin, as he appears in the video game Batman Arkham City. Alright, so if you remember, there were a couple of Batman video games back, some years ago. There was Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, which is this guy's from. There was Arkham Origins, Arkham Knight, and I believe a couple of mobile games. So the way the characters were portrayed in those video games, they were kind of very stylized, almost to the, almost to the extent where they were almost kind of like hyper realistic. The video game designs were really cool. They kind of took the comic book designs and like leveled them up. If you played video games like the Injustice fighting games, like on PlayStation or on the Xbox, the characters, they always wear kind of like body armor as opposed to spandex, and the characters just feel a little bit more real world, much like is the case with the Penguin right here. This is a great figure, visually right off the bat. And I'm going to say it right now, if you are a fan of Batman and the McFarlane figures, and you really want to build up your villains gallery, this guy is a purchase, regardless of whether or not you've played the video game. The only other Penguin figure we've received from McFarlane so far is the Colin Farrell Penguin from the Batman movie. That one's great, but in all honesty, it just looks like a fat guy with a purple shirt and a trench coat. I was joking around with my brother, not too long ago, saying, from a distance, that action figure, it almost looks like the WWE manager Paul Heyman, back in the days when he used to run ECW. But this figure here, it looks like the Penguin. It looks like what he's supposed to look like. He's shorter, he's stockier. He kind of has, that snarl in his face. So it's awesome. For me, I grew up on the Burgess Meredith Penguin, and then later on with Danny DeVito as Penguin. But I think in terms of an action figure, they did a really excellent job with this. He looks great. He comes with his trademark umbrella, and as you can see here, he comes with crucial Build-A-Figure pieces for Solomon Grundy. You have his vest and his head. Other figures in the wave include Arkham City Batman, great figure. I recently reviewed that. I'm not sure if I posted it up online yet, but if I did, check it out. I think this is going to be the go-to Batman action figure for a lot of people. The Catwoman figure, excellent figure. Ra's al Ghul, also excellent. So for me, all four of these figures in this wave, superb. I think that McFarlane did a bang-up job with all these figures. This was really an excellent wave. Alright, so let's get this guy out. As usual, I'm excited to check him out. I love that we're getting, some pretty cool villains. Especially from the video games. The video games had some really cool designs. The Arkham Deathstroke figure, if you haven't picked that figure up, I'd say hunt it down. It's a beautiful figure. And I can't stress enough, I say this all the time, the Arkham Knight Batman's a great figure. But with the release of the Arkham City Batman, I think that one kind of trumps it in some ways. Alright, so don't forget, you get your display base and your trading card. And this looks fantastic. I'm really excited to check them out. I love the shade that they're using for him too. There's some interesting color choices going on here. Like with his kind of like furry lapels, kind of like a grayish blue. He has a nice vest on, which almost kind of looks like a drab olive. He has the monocle, the top hat, which does not come off, I don't think. Oh yeah, also I stand corrected. I think McFarlane did give us the Batman 66 Penguin, the Burgess Meredith one, but you know the 66 line's a smaller scaled figure than the Multiverse. So I just want to make a correction there. All right, first off, let's take a look at this really cool umbrella. Has the penguin head on it. It looks cool. Nice shade of gold on the handle. And it's an umbrella. Not much can be said about that. You know, it's kind of rolled up. It's really well done. Nice sculpt. You know, it's a much needed accessory for the penguin. And here's the penguin. This is a wild looking figure. He has a very like almost kind of like nightmarish gothic Victorian look to him. You know, like I said, he's kind of snarling like he always does. He has the monocle. The hat does not come off, but that's alright. Beautiful texture work on his vest or sweater, whatever that is. Likewise on the lapel, it's nice and furry. It looks very ragged, looks very worn. You know, this is kind of like the penguin I kind of see in my head. And his pants are kind of like it's kind of like a dark blue with a hint of purple in it. And he has some nice white shoes. And he has the one hand that's kind of like taped up. So it's a nice juxtaposition to the rest of his outfit. And it's kind of cool too because in some ways with the way how his hand is bandaged up, it almost feels like it's supposed to be like a flipper or a hand, you know, which a real world penguin has. Yeah, really well done. This guy's a little bit on the shorter, stockier end, and he stands in at about with a top hat about 6.5 inches. So shorter figure. Here he is next to this guy. We see this guy all the time, the McFarlane design Batman. I've said this before in some of my recent videos, but it feels like McFarlane's like course correcting with their scale, and it feels like the figures from like some of the last few waves, like from Page Punchers and the Arkham City wave. They feel like they're scaled down. You know, they don't feel like they're as big as like the figures we got during the last 2 years. It's starting to feel like the figures are shorter, and I think that's intentional because I really do think that they're trying to make an effort to have all the figures, you know, line up with each other properly in their scale. Like this guy feels a lot bigger and different in scale than some of the figures we've gotten, you know, over the last few weeks. Let's take a look at this guy and his up close look at his sculpting. Really well done. I can't. There's something going on his neck there. There's like a hole or something. I can't see what that is. Yeah, there's like something odd going on here on my figure. I think mine might be like a defect or something, but right over here, I don't know what's going on. It looks like it's missing paint or something. Or is that from the video game? I can't tell. Yeah, there's something odd going here. There's something odd on mine, at least on my copy of the figure. It's like it looks like some plastic is torn off on his neck. Now it's been years since I've played the video game, so I couldn't tell you if that's actually like. Oh, okay. Wait, I can't remember. I don't remember if the character has a voice box or not, unless I'm confusing it with something else. So that might be attributed to something with the video game. I think it's like I said, it's been years. Nice snarl, well sculpted teeth. He has cool monocle. Hat's nice. Very stocky. Alright, so let's talk about the articulation. The penguin, his head rotates left and right. Does he look down? Surprisingly, he does look down. More so than most of the McFarlane figures. Does he look up? No, he just looks forward. His arms rotate. Now this is a figure that I can tell you right off the bat, he's not going to have like full range of articulation. His arms rotate. He has a bicep cut. He has double pinned elbows, which is more than the Batman figure in the line. Articulated wrists. Does he have a waist swivel? He swivels at the waist. I don't think there's an ab crunch. His legs kick forward about there. It's not a whole lot, and doesn't really. He could kick out, but the overcoat's kind of a little bit. It's not like it's too thick, but the material's a little bit harder. And then he has double pinned knee. No, single pinned knees. Swivel at the. Does it swivel at the knee? A slight swivel at the knee. Very. I wouldn't force it, but there's a tiny swivel there. And ankle and toe articulation. The ankle articulation is kind of hindered though by the cuffs at the bottom of his pant leg, so it's not gonna like rock back as far as you'd want it to. But then again, you know, this is the Penguin. I don't think articulation's really that big of an issue. This guy's kind of just like, you know, a very stationary character. He's not like the Flash where he's gonna be like running and being very agile. You know, he's just kind of just there. So it's a cool figure. It's nice, and it's creepy at the same time because it's the Penguin, but it's a very like it's like I said, it's a very gothic, nightmarish, Victorian style design. You know, he's a grumpy old man. You know, he's fighting for control of the Narrows. And let's get him with his cool little umbrella. Surprisingly, I just noticed with his hand, I'm forgetting the focus right here. He actually appears to be a gun-wielding hand. So he does have a trigger finger on his hand right there. So if you happen to have a figure that has like a pistol and you want to give this guy a gun for whatever reason, you know, if he wants to go like execute one of his like his goons or henchmen who messed up, you know, go for it. But, you know, here's the Penguin. He looks cool, you know. Here he is, holding his cool umbrella. You know, it's election season right now. Maybe he's running for mayor, just like Danny DeVito did back in Batman Returns. Awesome figure. Just look at the detail on that. Really well done. You know, I say this all the time, but man, McFarlane, they really raised the bar when it comes to action figures. You know, it's something they've been doing, you know, since the mid-90s. You know, they've really just... Every time they come out with a new action figure, I'm always just impressed. And I said this in a previous video. I always feel like I'm getting burned out on the McFarlane stuff because we get so much of it. But every time I handle a new action figure, it just kind of like gets me more amped up to see what's around the corner. Because I love the fact that, you know, a lot of these figures are original molds, original sculpts. You know, there's not a whole lot of reuse going on here. And, man, within a little over 2 years, they've given us so many characters already. You know, at first, it just felt like they were just giving us Batmans and Supermans, but, you know, they're really broadening, you know, the roster. And it's cool that they're tapping into, like, you know, the video games, especially, like, some of these older games. Like, Arkham City, that's not a new game by any means. That's something that came out years ago, so it's cool that they're revisiting that. So yeah, great action figure. On a scale of 1 to 10, visually, I think he's perfect. Now, many of you might take up issue with his articulation, but also keep in mind that this is supposed to be a chunkier, stockier character. You know, he's not going to, like, run rings around people like Damian or Robin or Nightwing or anything like that. You know, this guy's is kind of like... You know, it's the Penguin. He's kind of fat. He's kind of husky. He kind of you know, waddles into a room with his goons. Very, very cool. So yeah, great figure overall. I think it's not perfect visually. I think he's beautiful to look at, but you know, overall, I think it's, you know, a good solid 8 to 8.5. And I do feel that you do need them. If you're a Batman fan and you're a fan of the McFarlane line, you know, you need your villains. And even though this guy doesn't capture the, you know, the comic book version, I do think that, you know, what you do get out of this is really well done. Great representation of this character. All right, with that being said, let's wrap this video up. Once again, my name is Lou. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you're a returning viewer, subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support. I greatly appreciate it. So until the next video, be safe, take care of yourself, buy lots of toys, and most importantly, be happy. And I'll see you at the next one. All right, later.